Hiya and welcome to Matt's Mindful Meals. For those of you who've subscribed to the channel, welcome back and thanks very much. And for those of you who haven't, hope you enjoy this and think about subscribing by the end of the video. So today I'm out fishing with my mates Mo and Grant, and I'm going to cook a traditional Scottish dish which was invented up in the Moray, and it's called CULLEN SKINK. Now the ingredients for this are quite simple. The main ingredient really is smoked haddock, and along with that we'll have potatoes, onions and milk. Anyway, I'm going to get myself set up while the boys are setting the fishing rods up. So I'll catch you in and you can watch me set up. So my setup today is my two Firebox Generation 2 stainless steels, and I'm going to boil the potatoes in a billy can, which you can see there. The ingredients for today, we've got large potatoes. I've got 3 of those and 2 white Spanish onions, and in this little pot we've got some fresh unsalted butter, a little bit of flour to help make a roux so it goes a little bit thicker in the sauce, and then the star of the show, some smoked haddock. We got some milk, and I got some parsley somewhere in one of my bags that I'm going to find in a little while so I can get it going. Anyway, I'm going to get this all set up and start doing the veg. So the first thing I've got to do really is get the potatoes peeled, and I don't know about you, but I can't peel them with a knife very well. I end up leaving more of the potato on the skin, so I always use a little potato peeler. Anyway, I'll get these peeled and chat to you in a minute. So that's the potatoes peeled. Now to peel the nearly said carrots. Onions! Now, when you're cooking down at the beach, you've got to be really mindful of not getting sand in everything. So, yeah, just basically take care. Try and make it as with a little amount of sand as possible. And be thinking about, if you can, wash stuff off afterwards. But if not, you just have to make your best effort. Anyway, first thing we've got to do now is get the potatoes on, because that's what takes the longest. So I'm going to chop them up and get them into my billy can. So there's your potatoes. What we need to do now is cover them with water. Just enough so that when it boils, it doesn't boil over and put the flame out. And an important thing to add at this point is some salt. Don't go too crazy. That's plenty, because you can add a little bit of salt a little bit later on, but the fish is salty anyway because it's been cured. So we need to get this lit. So you can hear that going. Pop the lid on. leave those alone for a moment. Now what we've got to think about is doing the sauce or the base for the fish. So you need to thinly slice the onions, but then chop some thinly sliced and have some in really small pieces so that they more or less disappear. So I'll do the small ones first. But in the onions you'll see there's some finely chopped onions and some sliced. This is going to have a lot of milk put into it, and then it's going to come up to a gentle heat, and then we put the fish in and poach the fish in this. So you need to add the milk. Looks quite a lot, don't worry about it. So I'll get this other one lit. Always makes me jump. So this one, good top on there. Cover it up. And I'll go find where the boys are and leave you to watch this in the coast. Turn the heat on the potatoes up a little bit, and this is just getting nice and warm because the potatoes will take about 15 or 20 minutes to boil, so we need to get this nice and warm, then put the fish in, because you don't want to cook the fish too much. Test it with the back of your finger and it's just warm. So I'll pop the fish in now. You can see it's skin on smoked haddock. There should be fillets, but always make sure you check for bones when you're eating fish. I'm going to cover the fish up now and make sure it's coated in milk, and then we'll carry on cooking it. As you can see, the water in the potatoes is almost at the boil. Tell me, did you look? They've been fishing over inside the harbour. It was far too windy, so they're going to come and have a go in here now. See if they catch any monsters, shall we? Anything? Yes. Oh, let me see.
It was huge.
Give me a sec.
I battled it for hours.
They caught something over the other side and taken a photograph. So I'll add that in around about now. Massive, want it. we're now at the stage where the fish is actually cooked. So we don't want it to go too much more, so I'm going to turn the heat of that off. So that's going to be completely off now, but we need the milk and the onion to make up the liquid for the soup, and I'll show you that in a little while. We've got to wait for these potatoes. I'm going to try and convince them to see if we can do a little bit more fishing, see if they can show us something that they've caught other than Grant's photograph of the massive one. Anyway, let you enjoy more of the sea. Ta-ra! So what I'm going to start doing now is trying to make the sauce up. Now this is the way I do it because I like it slightly thicker, and so I'm going to start making a roux up and then start using the sauce from the fish to make the sauce, and then add a little bit of milk. So I'm going to change the camera angle so you can see what's going on in the pan more than be able to see me and everything else. It's soft anyway because it's been out of the fridge for a couple of hours. So two good dollops of butter. If your butter's bubbling, it might be slightly too hot, but I think this is going to be okay as I move it around the sides. Once it's all melted, that's the time to start adding the flour, and you need to keep stirring while that's on. Bring the milk to the side. I would say the potatoes are done enough now, so I'm going to twitch those off. Now, notice the butter's melted. Time to start adding the flour. Don't add it all at once. Little sprinkle in and stir it around. You noticed it's getting a little, like turning into like a little bit of a paste. You want that paste to be quite thick. You'll see the consistency changing. Keep it moving. A little bit more. You'll sort of know when it comes together because it seems to lose its shine and become more like a dough sort of consistency. We're almost getting there. You see how it's thickening up? A little bit more. You see? That's the kind of consistency I'm looking for. So now what I'll do, I'll try and create a white sauce by adding a little bit of milk. If you add a load of milk at once, it'll go quite lumpy now, so it's changing consistency. So this is where you really have to work it and try and get rid of all of the lumps. Just bear with it and it'll eventually become smooth. Keep moving it around. It's similar to like a bechamel sauce. So this is all cooking through now, so you won't get any rawness of the flour. So you can be a little bit more generous with the milk. Keep going until you've got rid of the lumps. Now what I need to do is use my ladle to try and add in the sauce that was surrounding the fish that we poached in. ladle this in, mix it through. So you've got the onions as well, and the milk. So once you've got it to an area time when you can pour it, pour some in. Now this is going to have all of the flavour of the fish, and also the onions have now gone nice and soft. So drop as many of the onions in as you want to. You don't have to use them all, just as many as you want. You want all of this really nice tasting milk now, because it's taken on the flavour of the smokiness from the fish. So that's really precious. You don't want to leave any of that around. So mix that in. Now you see the fish has changed colour. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cover this so that you don't get any sand in it, and allow this to warm through. So you can turn the heat up on this now. So that needs to heat up properly. Being as we're by the beach, pop a little lid on. So you can see most fish in here, and Grant's fish in there, and it's currently 1-0 to Grant. Now we've got the potatoes. So I now like to get the skin off the fish. So I'll show you how I'm doing that. Turn it over. Normally it comes off quite easily. I'm going to need to use a spoon today. Just give it a bit of a tug. You see, once you get it going, it comes off quite easily. Completely edible, the fish, the skin, but I prefer fish skin when it's crispy. So this fish can just be dropped into the pan. Same with the other one. I've put the fish back in, and the potatoes are in, the onions are all in, and the sauce isn't too runny because some people have it quite, so it's still quite like milk, but I like it a tiny bit thicker, hence making that roux earlier on. So I'm going to turn this down onto a really low heat now, put the cover on, and go and get the lads, and then I'll serve it up with some crusty bread, and I'll chat to you in a little while. Final touch is some parsley to go in, which I've almost forgotten about. You know, you have to have parsley in, but I quite like it. boys haven't caught anything else. I've just seen Grant catch some weed. But anyway, I'm going to slice the bread up, put some butter on it, and bring you back in a minute. Well then, just finished eating. I've tidied all the stuff away, as you've already seen. First time I've cooked Cullen skink myself. First time I've definitely cooked it outdoors. And it was really nice. I've eaten it in plenty of places, as you can probably tell by looking at me. I'm not shy of eating food. But there's a bit left over, and that's going to Yvonne, so you have to take that home. So now she's seen the video, she'll know that she should have definitely had some of that. Out of 10s? In fact, no, thumbs up and thumbs down first, isn't it? So after 3, thumbs up, thumbs down. 1, 2, 3, thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
3,
Definitely
happy with that. Out of 10, I'm going to give it a 7.5, because I think if I would have had one more piece of fish, being as the 3 of us, there would have been a lot more of a smoky flavour inside the soup. Anyway, what do you two think?
I would go 9 out of 10. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I would go 8 out of 10. Really liked it. Beautiful Cullen skink.
Anyway, so as I've got a little bit cleverer on the internet now, you should be able to see my little logo, and if you see the little logo and you've liked what you've seen, hit that and it'll take you to be able, so you can subscribe and see me in the again. And somewhere around there'll be a little video so you can see something similar that I've done. But anyway, till next time, take care of yourselves.